Okay, let's see if this is working. I think it is. Audio is working as well, that's great. Something I should confirm thoroughly after what happened yesterday, because yesterday I recorded into the void without having proper audio. Well, it happens, but that's fine. I did another stream then yesterday, which basically went a bit over the results of the lost stream, quote unquote, and moved towards like fixing the next issue, because we are past some discrepancies that we apparently had in our test data. And it's great that we were able to move past that, because this means that right now the thing that's standing between us and validating the hello binary in the most immediate sense is the generation of this test data, and like this failing somehow at some point, right? And there's an issue about that. We can switch to my screen and show that. Yeah, why does running the VM tests not upload more traces for larger packages? Originally this was about something else, which was another discrepancy in the test data, because, dear God, it's difficult to get these things right. But since we got past that issue, and there the issue was that we were just like some things were still input addressed, even though we wanted a version of Nix packages for our tests that was fully content addressed. So there was something significantly wrong with the test data. Yesterday I fixed the problem that was also related to a discrepancy there. So yeah, great. Which means that what I did originally at Ocean Sprint kind of was working already to some degree, was working already, which is wonderful. And what we were left with yesterday is so the remaining problem is basically we don't have enough test data, because test data generation fails, because when we actually run our VM test, which is where we get the signatures we use for testing from, we don't do end-to-end testing in the VM tests yet. Right now we use them for data generation for the verification tests, because you wouldn't want to have this long iteration loop as you're working on verification. So that's why we're extracting data in the first place from there. And later on we're gonna have like separate tests where the VM tests will really be an end-to-end thing, and we will cover as much as we can with the Python tests, or maybe not as much as we can, as much as is sensible. And maybe it will be sensible to cover as much as we can. Let's see. So the point is, like, the build hosts that feed the cache that we get our test data from, they don't really build the full hello derivation because of one of the post build hooks fails. And yesterday on stream we looked into this a bit, didn't find anything, but generated some data. But I then got curious about, would the logging in Lix, because I read somewhere that Lix logs post build hooks, and I think Nix doesn't. I'm actually not even sure on that, but I think it doesn't. So I wanted to try that at first. So I did that in the evening, started using Lix on those test VMs instead of Nix. At first I didn't see any difference, didn't know where I'd find those logs, but if I used the -L flag to get build logs, I would now get also like logs for the post-build hooks, which is great. And I don't think Nix does that. I have to sneeze. Funnily enough, if I think I have to sneeze and I don't want to sneeze on stream, and I try to like press the mute button beforehand, somehow that overrides the sneezing and I look like an idiot. But never mind. So I actually did that yesterday, and probably you could find the same failing hook from the logging for post-build hooks that I cobbled together originally, and you would have to look at the zip file. But like late at night, I don't want to sift through a folder of files. I want to like try something, right? So I tried. Oh, what is this? This is not what I wanted to open. Okay, yes, it's just downloaded. Now let's see. I haven't actually looked at this error yet because I thought this is part of the fun to look at that on stream. So first there we're still building something different, but then we get to the post-build hook of zlib. Another thing that I realized yesterday, if we're looking at this state, like if we're looking at the log that we originally had, we don't know that this failure corresponds to what happens on the line above or the few lines above at all. Like those things could just be temporarily correlated somewhat, but not actually causally linked. It could be that this particular derivation has nothing to do with this particular failure causally, right? And that's actually turns out to be the case, it seems, because this is the post-build hook for zlib. So apparently we're failing on zlib, I think. Yeah, and this is the logging that I built. Like I'm using the TEE command to put the output of this script into a log file, which also means like I wasn't certain that we would even have a log file because maybe I was messing up something very early on. But we can see here that, and let's reference, like for reference, we do have the actual contents of the post-build hook here. So it sets a few flags to get a bunch of output from this bash script or shell script, whatever. And then what does it do? It creates a sanitized derivation file name. I think this is also related to the logging, right? This is just done for logging. So I could also be messing things up with my logging. But then we set up this logging, we make sure that these things are not empty, I think, that we have these inputs that we require. I also realized on stream yesterday that we should also do that in our sign and upload command, and are not doing that yet because I invoked that yesterday and there was some data missing in the generated signatures when in fact it should fail. I added that to the things that we should do for Lila integration, I think. Yeah. Yeah, so we're then saying what we're doing and actually just using Nix copy to do all of the regular cache filling. So we're still acting like a regular Nix cache, just that maybe in production you wouldn't do this here, but you would fill a queue and then do it asynchronously later on. But like for this, it makes sense to do it directly. And then we invoke laut and upload our signatures in addition to what Nix usually does. And those things live peacefully alongside each other. And with that context set, let's see how far we get. So we're doing the Nix bits. I'm assuming that those don't fail. There's also some credentials in here probably, which is fine because they're also at the top of the test.nix file. And then we have an error here. Where is this? This is in laut. So it's in my code. Error in sign command. Let's move me out of, like, let's resize this window so that I'm not in the way as much. I think this is a good compromise. One of my colleagues mentioned like having the screen in here, like the laptop screen in here, is annoying, or like maybe it would be better if it wasn't here. I like it as long as it doesn't get in the way. Sign and upload, error store path, zlib whatever, contains illegal character space. What is going on here? So why is zlib different from everything we've seen so far? Like, and this is not a store path actually, right? Because it doesn't start with /nix/store. Is this the first thing that has more than one output? Could that be that early on in the bootstrap we only ever see things that have one output, and now we're seeing a default output and then a dev output? Like, this is the thing that, like, in those paths, usually if you don't have -out, but that's just like the default standard thing, so it's not appended here. But if we have a output called dev, it's totally appended to the name, and like the actual output paths are computed from the derivation paths. This is one thing that we actually don't have to do. Yay. We can just trust Nix in doing that so far. But yeah, that's what it looks like. Interesting. So my hope was that this was going to be a quick fix and that we could move on to generating test data. I'm not sure now. What do we get in as the, like, how do we get invoked? Laut debug, sign and upload, zlib drv, all right. And then the relevant environment variables should be up here, I think, when we check them. Yeah, okay, we have zlib static and then zlib free one free one, and then zlib dev. Is this weird? Like, bash is weird. So we even have free outputs, and the default one is not the first one. So we have static, then we have this, and I think we're stuck here, right? Let's see again. Error in sign command, and then we have 1, the static 2. No, we have all 3 in here. Okay. Store path, and it interprets the first one as a store path that contains a space and says this is illegal. And we are in don't know if I have to read that stack trace from the top or from the bottom. Is this maybe just, let's see. Like there's two things we could do. We could just look at the entry point and go from there, or we can like try to parse this log here and figure out where precisely the error occurs. I want to first try to figure out where actually we can find the error in our code. Multifunction command, invoke. Get output hash from disk. Is this test code? That makes sense. Get output hash from disk. Because I think like this wouldn't work. Let's see what get output hash from disk is. Because I don't tend to remember. Should have like some excludes in here. Get output hash from disk. Oh, we're querying this. Oh no, I was mistaken. For sure we should get this from the store. All right. Okay, this is actually commented out, so we don't need this here, right? So it's just about the signing, and this is where we get our output hash. Like signing out paths. This is not typed. And then for every path in paths, we say get output hash from disk. Okay. So I'm thinking that this is just really not implemented very smartly, and like implicitly we're assuming this is a list, but actually it's just a space separated string. And probably we shouldn't even, like, I feel like this is the kind of input handling that should happen in the CLI file. And like the signing here is not nicely typed yet, but should be a list of strings. Oh, you're unable to write things. Oh. Where are we actually? Source laut signing. Huh? I mean, I get that we're in the store because we're looking at dir env, but files to include, files to exclude is what I wanted to do. All right. And now signing. This is where we actually want to do stuff. Yeah, I mean, this is not well typed in any way, but let's start somewhere and just say it's a list of strings. We we can maybe use click, which is the thing we use to construct our CLI interface, to parse this correctly. I don't know. This is something that I'd have to look up. But for sure, there should be a list of strings that goes in here and upload signature. Does this assume that there's just one? Oh, there is just one. That's fine. Like if there's multiple outputs, like this is also one of the differences between our scheme and what Nix is currently doing. Nix is signing outputs, while like it also signs the corresponding input hash, so it correctly establishes the relationship between the input hash and one of the outputs, and just does that for every output. But I think this is not the way you would actually want to go. I feel it's much nicer that the signature actually gives you a statement about the individual build operation, and the individual build operation has multiple outputs. So you have a hash of the inputs together with the set of outputs. So you have a set of inputs and a set of outputs, and you sign this because you're making a statement about this one build operation that actually happened and is an atomic thing somehow, right? So I think that this way of splitting things up makes much more sense. Or combining things actually makes much more sense. Okay, signing and upload. Then we have to look at the CLI where this gets invoked. This is the test data. Okay. Our paths. So this is optional, and by default we take this variable. Could be typed better, right? I don't know if click can deal with a list of paths. Maybe we should look that up. Can you use Claude without logging in? No. Like, I mean, I think this is an easy question. Should we just Google it like old school? Old school. Click Python. List of paths. Is this something that how to iterate through a list of paths? Does this okay, we can have multiple yeah, I also don't want to like get too deep into this because I don't think it's a lot of fun to do on stream, because it has nothing to do with the subject in question, right? And what is this? Did I mess that up now? So we'll just leave this as just coming in from a string, and we'll say, well, out paths, no matter how it comes in, it's gonna be, or is this, yeah, it's just gonna be a string, and we're gonna separate it. Paths split, and then the separator, right? I think this should do it. But I'm not a Python wizard by any means. I use different languages. I haven't done that much Python. Test this stuff. Split. Test this stuff. Split and space. Yeah, this is good. And then we have to probably oh, is it already? Ah, the separator here is wrong. Man. Let's see if this works. Just in an isolated test case, because ideally what I want to do is I want to fix this bug and then I want to fix this bug and then try to restart the data generation, and then we will see. Then probably come back to streaming only after we have more test data, later today or tomorrow. Yeah, that works. But it looks like it looks a bit stupid to me. Let's first of all get rid of the assignment here so it prints, and then okay, if we get rid of this, it still works. For P in P, P for P in P. Does this make any sense? Why would you do it this way? Like an empty list, probably we don't have to worry about that, right? Oh, maybe we do, because we don't want an empty list, right? But does this really help? No. Like this just seems stupid. Path list is our paths split with the correct separator. And I think that's it. That should be the fix. Didn't realize. All right. Okay, this is skipped. Never mind. Like those tests pass. This looks fine. Yeah, let's go through those changes. Don't press something wrong. Okay, so we just do the last 4 files, I think. yeah, we want to take that because that's a good change. This is just making things simpler, and hopefully we're able to deal with multiple paths that way. What do we even do in the loop, actually? Does this even make sense? Let's see. For this. Oh, because we need all of the hashes from the things in the... Ah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And I think we also discovered our bug that I mentioned earlier, because if this is empty, we're splitting this where we end up with an empty string, and then we just go through the signing without any outputs. So out paths should really be non-empty, and same with derivation path. And actually it shouldn't be that hard to just verify that. And derivation path and out paths. If derivation path, okay, with this, I think I want to know if there is some non-white space character in there. Is space? Yeah, is this just space then? Because there's gonna for sure be a string, I think. We shouldn't, like, we should. This is the default, right? If we don't set a default, so first this is none. We can even do this differently. Oh, this seems like spam. Default. Yeah, we should just not set a default. OS get env, but is there a difference between those? Again, basically OS environment is found on import. Shortcut. Returns none. This reason exception. Yeah, so we can just stay with what we're using. Just get rid of this, and then if if this is not set, if we don't have any output paths, yeah, we should Okay, I feel like we're getting lost in the weeds now. I mean, it's a good thing to do this, but honestly, like there's a bunch of variables that I should check. And of course this is angry now. I think this is an improvement to the situation, at least. We should verify. Maybe that's a to do. Make sure that those two things are not none and not just space. So we should have some content in there. And I'll put the to do here. Yeah, this is an improvement. Let's get out of here again. Yeah, we made an improvement, I feel. And we know what was wrong. We know why, if outpath is not set, or if those things are not set, we still proceed with generating a signature. We know how to fix it. I just want to stay focused because I want to go to lunch. Let's just run the tests. You notice I'm not running the VM tests right now because the whole, like, this is the next thing we're gonna try to do anyway, running the VM tests. This looks good. This looks good. This looks good. We don't need to commit. We don't want to commit this because we want to keep the test runs short. So we don't want to just run the whole hello binary by default. So we have a commit now. What am I? Funny enough, in streaming, I sometimes use different tools than I regularly use. So sometimes that makes me even a bit slower. But I am slow. I'm hella slow. That's fine, I think. Okay, git commit. Because I try to do important stuff, right? And then you can be a bit slower. Make with multiple output. Make sign command take in multiple outputs correctly. I think that's a fine description. Oh, I don't even have the things in here where I switch to leaks, right? Yeah, did that on another machine. So we're gonna push this now, and am I gonna show? Yeah, I think I'm gonna show this. So on another host, we can pull this again. Oh no, we're not doing that. I wanted to, what did I want to do? We again ask you to build the hello binary. Maybe I should actually, no, I can't, because I can't run this in CI. So usually I go to the big machine for this. Has a bunch, like it has, it's an early, it's an early Ryzen CPU, but a big one, like the 16 core kind of machine. And that's much better than my laptop here for actually building a significant number of derivations, which I sometimes do. Yeah. So we're gonna go into tmux, and in here we're gonna first build the test driver. And then when the test driver has finished building, we're gonna start running the tests, which will start filling our cache, and then we will just leave that running in the hope that it just fills happily without any issues. And then we can go have lunch. This looks good. Starting the test driver, and then I'm just running the test script. So I didn't do anything to, like, sometimes I run this stuff through waypipe so that I actually have all of the windows for the individual machines, but I'm not doing that now because I'm rather running this in tmux so that I can close this machine, turn it off, and this test run will continue. And this will fill the cache that we find here. So from there I will download the results. This is on my tailnet, so you don't have to worry. From there I will download the results, and hopefully there will be a lot of stuff in the results. And then we will see if we'll manage to verify the hello binary that way, if we'll manage to at least collect all of the signatures and figure out what the final output hash is going to be. Yeah, that's it for now. Thank you very much. Maybe I'll see you later today. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow. Have a nice day. Well, I don't actually know what that, if that means anything. So I'll just say bye. Thank you. I like to do the close-up for that. So at least I'll take a bit of advantage of the features here. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day. Bye. See you soon.